committee's purpose is to evaluate RNs requesting participation in the intervention program and to make recommendations to the program manager regarding the terms and conditions of the intervention agreement, including supervision and monitoring requirements. So beginning with agenda item 1.0, roll call and establish a quorum. I will let the members introduce themselves, starting with Michelle. Go ahead and introduce yourself, your role as a member, please, and just going around.
Hi, my name is Michelle Corcoran, and I am a nurse practitioner, nurse, and member of the board, the IEC committee. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Humphrey Ogg, a nurse member of the IEC committee.
I'm Carol Stanford. I'm a public member of the IEC.
Thank you. Please note for the record that nurse member Darcy Hostetter and physician member Salma Khan are absent for today's meeting. A quorum has been established at 8:39 a.m. We will proceed to agenda item 2.0, general instructions for public participation. Board moderator, would you please share the instructions on how members of the public can make a public comment?
Good morning. This is the IEC moderator. I will be moderating this meeting. To facilitate public comment, we will be utilizing the WebEx question and answer feature. It is now known as Slido. When the committee reaches a point in the agenda which public comment is appropriate, the question and answer feature will be turned on and members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by inserting the phrase, "I would like to make a comment," in the question box, which is typically in the lower right of your screen. I will then call on the individual and unmute their microphone. The individual will have 2 minutes to make their comments. I will not give a warning as your time approaches. I will mute your microphone and will announce that your time has exceeded the time allotted. I will then proceed to the next member of the public who has a comment. We will also query our in-person location in BRNHQ. Please note that the question and answer feature is being used only as a means for members of the public to represent that they would like to make a verbal comment. When your turn comes, you will be prompted to unmute. If your question can be answered, the committee will respond accordingly. When making your comment, speak about anything you believe is important for the members to know. Remember, committee members cannot address any item not on the agenda. Items not on the agenda at that moment and items that you would like to add to a future meeting or items that will be discussed later on the agenda will be discussed at their correct times during the meeting. I will provide a brief reminder of this approach at the start of each public comment item. Finally, when committee members or BRN staff are not speaking, I would like to remind them to mute their microphone. If I detect background noise during the meeting as a result of unmuted microphones, I will mute your microphone automatically.
Thank you. Board moderator, would you please open for public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for a comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." And it is known as Slido in case you are looking, SLIDO. Meeting facilitator Quinn, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. Do we have any in-person representation there in BRNHQ?
I do not believe so.
No, we do not.
Thank you. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Would the committee like to discuss any items to add to future agendas?
No.
No, they do not.
I have none.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 4.0, approval of the previous meeting minutes. Have all the members had a chance to review the previous minutes, and are there any questions?
Go ahead.
No questions.
questions.
I move to pass the previous minutes.
I second it.
Okay, so 4.0 is to allow the BRN staff to make non-substantive changes to correct name, misspellings, and or typos that may be discovered in the document. Board moderator, would you please open for public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment."
Before they do vote.
Meeting facilitator Quinn, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. We have no in-person representation in BRNHQ. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. So we had a motion and we had a second. I believe the motion was Humphrey Ogg. Is that correct? And second, Carol Stanford?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
but before, there was a little typo, and I'm
Okay.
trying to pull it up again, just in one of the words. I think they, just a little typo error that I think can be corrected in the, meeting minutes. So it's just difficult for me to get it up because of all the different passwords and stuff. But if you look on, I think it was the first sentence or one of the sentences, there was just in one of the words that they used, it was just misspelled. Other than that, everything else was fine.
Okay, thank you. So can we have a vote?
And once they make that correction in that typo, then everything is
The motion already gives the board the authority to change any non-substantive
Perfect.
and typos. Yes, so go
okay.
ahead.
So I move that we accept the meeting. Accept the minutes.
Vote.
Aye.
Aye. Humphrey.
Michelle.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to agenda 5.0, information only, intervention program updates. Management continues to work with Premier Health Group, attending all intervention evaluation committee meetings, providing education to IEC members, and identifying possible gaps in regulations for the intervention program. IEC vacancies and recruitment. The board continues to recruit IEC members with knowledge and experience in treatment of substance use disorder or mental illnesses. To apply for an IEC position, interested parties can find the application on our website at rn.ca.gov/intervention. Program outreach, the board emailed 266 outreach materials to individual nurses this quarter and 1,561 this calendar year. This is all the program updates. Board moderator, would you please open for public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Meeting facilitator Quinn, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. We have no in-person representation in BRNHQ. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Okay, any discussion from board members?
Done.
No? Okay, moving on to agenda item 6.0, information only regarding requirements for participation and completion of the intervention program, including working in positions involving direct or indirect patient care and/or administering narcotics to patients. Excuse me. This update is from our executive officer, Loretta Melby. So I will let her introduce herself at this time.
Thank you, guys. I am Loretta or Lori Melby. I'm the board's executive officer. I've been coming into the IEC meetings now for a couple months. I think this is my first time getting to you guys. Our board made a motion back in August of 2024 to suspend the imposition of the requirement that participants work in direct patient care and suspend the imposition that the requirement that the participants work to pass narcotics. Those two requirements are put forth unless there's additional evidence of patient safety issues. Additionally, they also asked me to review any IEC recommendation that extends a person in the program past 3 years. So I have been doing that. I've been doing that since August of last year. When I reported out at the first subcommittee after this occurred, November 2024, there were 22 reviews that were sent to me. And that kind of process continued for a while, but I'm happy to report that between August board meeting and this board meeting, there's only been one review that has been sent to me to look at to see if there's evidence that supports it. So the purpose of my review is not to overturn an IEC recommendation. It's not to challenge an IEC recommendation, but it is there to ensure that there is evidence to support that recommendation. If there's not evidence to support that recommendation, then it is sent back to an IEC to either gather that evidence, or if there is no evidence to support that, to reconsider that recommendation. So to date, I have reviewed 57 recommendations that have been in front of me total, with the majority being just that first short section between August and November of 2024. And 28 have been approved. There have been evidence to support the requests that have come forward, and 29 have been referred back to the IECs to take a second look at them to ensure that there is the documentation there to recommend the either direct patient care work requirement, the passing narcotic requirement, or the extension past 3 years. It looks to me like this is actually settling, but we're continuing, as the board directed me, to provide the education, answer any questions that you guys may have. If you have any concerns about that. And so one of the things I just really wanted to point out in our ask under Business Professions Code, pull that up here right quick. I just clicked and closed it on accident. I apologize. I was messing around on my computer trying to get the material straight. So in Business and Professions Code 2770, it says that it is the intent of the legislature that the BRN seek ways and means to identify and rehabilitate registered nurses whose competency may be impaired due to abuse of alcohol and other drugs or due to mental illness, so that the registered nurses so afflicted may be rehabilitated and return to practice of nursing in a manner that will not endanger the public health and safety. And so there were comments that we've received over the year of the concerns that were brought in front of us, that the direct patient care was used to establish competence. there was no evidence that was able to support that requirement, and that was a newer requirement that started probably about 2 years ago. So we've had this program up and running about 40 years, and we're not sure what exactly happened. There was a deep dive investigation. There were comments that came from people that said maybe the direct patient care requirement came from the prior board vendor. Then I heard comments that said maybe that requirement came from board staff. I heard comments that said maybe that requirement came from IEC members. So because there were comments around all of it, we went to work. And so we worked with board staff. We're now working with IEC members, and we have been very clear with the new vendor that the direct patient care and the passing narcotics is not a blanket requirement. So with that, I really want to see if there's any questions or comments from you guys, anything that I can answer. If you have any concerns that you'd like to share, and then just kind of open it up and give it back to you guys right now.
Okay, I just want to say thank you, Loretta. We appreciate, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, this is Carol. Thank you. We appreciate your deep dive and your concern over this matter, because being involved with the program for the last 25 years, we never had a requirement that a person had to have patient care and or pass narcotics in order to successfully complete as an absolute requirement. It was based on the IEC's need for the individual and what they say they're going to do. So wherever that came from, God only knows, because you were right, it was only within the last 2 years or so that all of a sudden came up. I doubt if Maximus brought that up, because that was not their role as a vendor. Their role is to submit to the Board of Registered Nursing and to the IEC committee. So at some point there was a misinterpretation of the requirements, and I think it was just an error on the part of however it came out. But one thing I do appreciate is that you all have recognized that, and it's refreshing to see your input. So we're here to work. We work in conjunction with the board, and we're here to do the best thing we can for the nurses. So I just want to say we appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah, I believe it came from Uniform Method 12, where it said demonstrated that he or she is able to practice safely. And that's actually why I went back to the Business Professions Code, the 2770, because it said that the competence was affected by the mental health or the substance use. It wasn't that they were an incompetent RN or that they didn't know how to work as an RN. It was that the mental health and the substance use disorder was affecting their competency. And so when that is managed, then the nurse's competence typically returns. So there would have to be some kind of evidence as they're progressing through the program, when you go from no work, right? And then you release them to be able to work, but not as an RN. And then you evaluate them, you move them to be able to work as an RN. You don't have to specify the area. And then you move them from working as an RN, you say, well, now you can have access. It doesn't mean you must have access. It means that you guys as a committee have reviewed everything and said, this person, if they chose to, in alignment with what they want to do with their career path and their sobriety or mental health work, they can, if they chose to do that. And you guys are giving that to them in the duration of your program. You guys are not forcing them to do that. And so that is truly where you guys are able to take that information in and take a look at what's happening and look at the progression and how they are demonstrating consistent, sustained participation in activities that promote and support their recovery. That's truly the ask. So with that, if there does come a time, we did come back in front of our board in February, just to clarify that if there did come a time where a person was demonstrating that, really doing a direct patient care role would benefit. You guys could make that recommendation. And we could then ask the participant to do that, but there would have to be still evidence to support that request. One of the things that, I'm a nurse and, we have nurses on the committee and such. Nursing is vast. And so like I'm the EO, the BRN. I haven't worked in direct patient care for greater than 5 years. 5 years ago was the beginning of COVID. So I'm technically not recent in practice. And so asking me if I were in this program to return to patient care, that might be a larger risk than letting me kind of successfully complete and go through my process. And especially if it was something that I'd never done before, if I'd been in case management before, or if I'd been, like an IT RN or something before, and now you're wanting me to do direct patient care because there is a possibility with my license to do that, I would have to find a new specialty. I would have to find, very similar to like a new grad program that would even be able to train me up to be able to do that because I've been out of practice for so long. So it doesn't mean I'm not an RN. It doesn't mean I'm not a good RN. It just means I'm not a direct patient care RN or an RN that needs to have access to medications. The other thing that was discussed was we're using this kind of broad term as access to narcotics because that is something that we've used kind of internally with probation, and it's on some of our stipulations, our decision orders and stuff. But when you're looking at mental health and you're looking at substance use disorder, those addictive items are not always narcotics. And so by limiting it just to access with narcotics, that's a real miss. There are many other substances out there that are addictive that are not narcotic in nature. And if that is a concern, then that can be worked on through therapy and nursing support groups and, all kinds of stuff that would help them do that. And there are sometimes within the person's own recovery, they are aware that they should not work in those situations or have access to those situations. It doesn't mean they're unsafe. It means that they are accurately identifying their risk and managing for it, which is appropriate in their recovery. And so putting them into a situation that that they may fail is not something that is supported either. So I appreciate you guys listening to me ramble for a moment. I do want to be mindful of the time. It is 9:01, and I do want you guys to get on with your process here. So if you have no further questions for me or any other action, I will let you guys. Yes, go for it.
I have a question, Humphrey. Nice to meet you, Loretta. Quick question: is there any move to adopt to the uniform standards a tool for competency?
So that goes back to the Business Professions Code 2770 that I shared. It's not the IEC's role to evaluate competency. The BRN has never evaluated competency. Competency is established in a facility that hires the person. That is where competency lives. We do minimum licensing standards that create a safe practicing RN. If that competency is affected by mental health, if that competency is affected by substance use disorder, then you address the mental health or the substance use disorder. That's the precipitating factor there. Does that make sense? So if that is managed, then the competency should, in all intents and purposes, return. Because this is not a practice error, right? A lot of our practice errors that are not mental health related, not substance use disorder related, they go through probation because that is where the competency is problematic.
I think
Coursework and all that kind of stuff for it.
I think competency is probably not the adequate word we should be using in the maybe it should be safe practice. And I think a combination of substance abuse and mental health, as the professionals on the IEC committee, we're sort of making that determination, but there isn't any sort of empirical guidelines for us to be able to say this person is now safe to practice. And it sort of just relies on our expertise and accumulation of the cures and all the data. But I think the end destination is safe practice, whether it's established by competency or whether it's established by impairment. I mean, Uniform Standards sets steps to reach that safe standards practice. So I think we perhaps using the wrong word. It really should be safe practice, and in that determination, we may say we don't feel that the candidate is able to practice safely, so we were restricting their access to direct patient care or narcotics.
Yeah, and you guys
And
will
I'm wondering
see
if
that.
we have a tool that's more specific. Has the board thought about a tool that's more specific that we could use?
No, they have not, and I don't believe that there's anyone that exists, honestly. What occurs is mental health and substance use disorders affect each person slightly different. And so because of that, that's where we really kind of say this routinely is it has to be individualized plan, right? And so what you're looking at is the safe practice is affected by the impairment of the mind, whether it's from substance use disorder or whether it's from mental health. And so when you are able to work with that mind, give it the tools, give it the support, retrain whatever needs to occur during that, and you, through the interactions with the participant, getting feedback from their CCMs, getting feedback from the providers that have done extensive evaluations, looking at their habits, looking at their process, looking at their interactions, you were able to see the change in that person's mindset and how they are processing. And you could see that that kind of disordered mind is becoming more ordered, more logical. And when you're able to do that, because that is the process that's been interrupted by the substance use disorder, by the mental health issues, then that is what lets you know that this person could return safely to practice. When you look at the data of our 40-year history, there's not a lot of recidivism and there's a lot of successful completions. And so we are doing that through that individualized process and by providing the support that is there. NCSBN has been did a study a while back where they looked at what makes a successful alternative to discipline program. We fall in line with that. We meet all of that. What we're participating in now is a subsequent study with the National Council of State Boards of Nursing, and they are actually taking that one step further. Instead of just looking at the participants to get them to successful completion, they're monitoring them for 2 years post-program to look at issues like recidivism. Have they relapsed? Have there been any other issues after they have completed the program? So we hope to have that data within the next couple of years to just really kind of put a stamp on it that says not only do we know that the participants are successfully completing, but that because of the program, because of that successful completion, they are now demonstrating that they are continuing to practice in a manner that is safe for the public after completion. The great thing with our program is that if you do successfully complete, you can re-enter at any point. And so that is really kind of the key when you're looking at what mental health is and what substance use disorders are. If you're not a one and done, that is irrationally for us to even think that you're a one and done. So when you look at the way that that is set up, that is a chronic condition, and it's how you manage those chronic conditions that allow you to continue to work in a safe manner. It is not an acute that you can put a cure to. So it is giving them the tools to manage this chronic condition and allowing them to come in for kind of a restart if that's ever needed in the future so that we can continue to support them in that path. And again, while maintaining public safety, right? So we don't mandate everybody to go into our program. There are many, many nurses that have mental health or substance use disorder issues out there that choose to do their own path and not follow our intervention program. When you look at the numbers and you just kind of compare that to the general population, there are minimal numbers in our intervention program that are actually using our program where we actually have really stringent guidelines that allow us to monitor the participants' progress throughout the entire 3 to 5 years. That is not comparable to other programs that are out there that don't have that requirement for the drug testing and requirement for the in-person meetings and the requirement for clinician evaluations, et cetera. So we really do have a stellar program, but we don't have all of the nurses that could benefit from our program in our program. And I would love to see that change in the future. I think we do have to do some adjustments of our program to make it more appealing for them to want to join, or even if it's not appealing, you know, nobody says I want to do this, and kind of be tied to that, but financially available to participants too, and getting our participants back into the workforce as soon as possible is really key. Getting them in, getting them processed through and back doing their job, that actually does have a lot of evidence around it that supports that mental health and substance use disorder, because you're giving them hope by getting them back into some kind of normalcy. So there are a lot of areas in our program that can use some kind of support, just to ensure that we're kind of speeding up that process, but not, you know, I don't want to do that in absence of looking at public health or public safety. But we do want to have that as a good kind of balance to understand that we can support the people in their recovery by getting them back to work sooner. Any other questions or comments? And I hope I answered your question. I know I'm pretty long-winded. I apologize for that.
No, thanks.
Character flaw that I own.
This is great.
Any additional
Okay.
questions?
Great. I will stay on through public comment in case there's anybody else out there that has any questions or comments for me. And then other than that, I will drop off and let you guys continue the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Board moderator, can you open for public comment, please?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, I would like to make a comment. Please remember you have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, I would like to make a comment. Meeting facilitator Quinn, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. We have no in-person representation in BRNHQ. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Moving to agenda item 7.0, discussion and possible action to review the IEC member guide and intervention program regulations and provide recommendations to the board. The board staff requests intervention evaluation committee members to review the IEC guide on an ongoing basis and offer feedback to staff regarding any areas where information could be developed further. Board is responsible for onboarding and training all IECs to ensure members are successful in their role. The board is seeking feedback from its IECs on regulatory changes that would help the board better fulfill its legislative mandate. IECs are responsible for evaluating registered nurses in the intervention program according to the guidelines prescribed by the board. These guidelines can be found excuse me, under the California Code of Regulations, Title 16, 1446 through 1449, currently pertain to admission criteria, procedure to review program applicants, causes for denial of admission, and causes for termination from the program, as well as other requirements. Is there any discussion among the committee members?
The only discussion I wish is, I always wish this, and I know it's a big ask, but one day to consider nursing students, at some point. There are some states that when a nursing student passes their exam or whatever, and if there's any issues, they have a method by which they bring them into the program when they first get started. So that's just my comment. I know that is a whole legislative process, and it's just something I know we've discussed before, but so many nursing students are out there struggling. But anyway, that's just my only comment.
Thank you, Carol. Are there any additional comments?
None for me.
Okay, board moderator, will you please open for public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember you'll have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Meeting facilitator Quinn, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. We have no in-person representation in BRNHQ. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Moving to agenda 8.0, discussion and possible action, the approval of the proposed 2026 meeting schedule. Have all members had a chance to review this schedule? And are there any questions?
Looks good. I move that
Okay.
we accept the schedule. Is this the time? I move that we accept the schedule as indicated.
Okay, Carol makes a motion in a second.
Humphrey.
Humphrey seconds.
All in favor?
We got a
Discussion.
public comment.
Yeah, public.
Yeah, board moderator, would you please open for public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember you'll have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give you reminders as time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Meeting facilitator Quinn, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. We have no in-person representation in VRNHQ. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Now we will take a vote.
We'll take a vote for the dates
to
as
approve the
listed.
minutes.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, all three in favor. Thank you. Agenda item 9.0, the committee will meet in closed session and pursuant to Professional Code Section 2770.10, the Government Code Section 11126, Subdivision C2, to discuss and vote on matters related to the intervention program applicants and participants. This meeting is recessing into closed session at 9:19 a.m. Open session will reconvene immediately following the closed session.
Now,
Okay, we are reconvening in open session. It is 2:09 p.m. We'll do a roll call to establish quorum. Carol Stanford.
Okay, Carol Stanford here.
Michelle Corcoran here.
Humphrey All present.
Okay, we've established quorum at 2:09 p.m. and we are closing open session. Thank you.